I'm Trin Johnson, and welcome to Dust in My Eye. The other day, I had a video out where I filled all my tiny palettes, and I had this guy left. I painted this little tin that I got on Amazon, and I bought this cute little palette from Etsy, and this fits right in there. A little tricky getting it in, but it works fine. So I'm not going to put it in and out right this second. But I had decided that I wouldn't fill this one in the last video because I kind of ran out of time. And I thought I would fill this one with gouache. So I have gone over my other gouache palettes, which I have 3 of them now that are in my little flat containers. I will link that video. It shows you how I filled 2 of them. And then I filled a third one with these colors that weren't in these 2 because I could fit them and I had another palette. And I like having options. So I wanted to fill this one with colors that were mostly not on these 2 cards that I don't already have. And this is a tinier palette. Hopefully I can bring it along more readily. I don't know. I'm going to see how it works. And I think the only color that is duplicated is the turquoise green. I think that's the only one I have in another palette at this point in time. So anyway, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put my 4 orangey reds here, my blues and greens there, and then my more neutral colors in here. Now you may say I am missing one because there's 12 spaces and I only have 11 out here, but I have mixed up my own version of a sand color and I'm going to put that in this one right here. And that's the one I'm going to start with because it's all mixed up. And that is made from Burnt Umber, Brilliant Pink. These are both Holbein colors. And then I used a little Van Dyke Brown. That is a Daniel Smith color. And I used some Holbein Zinc White. And that's what this mix is. So I'm going to do him first because it's all mixed up. So you can see it's kind of this skin tone color. Now, if you live somewhere with white sand or black sand, this is not going to work for you. But we have a cottage off Lake Huron, and I paint there often. And our sand is this kind of color. And sometimes it's a little browner, sometimes it's a little pinker, sometimes it's a little whiter. Gouache usually dries darker, although it is kind of unreliable. And so just when you think you have it figured out, it might not do what you think it's going to do. Now, some of these colors are M. Graham, and I know M. Graham uses honey in their watercolors. I suspect there might be some of that going on here too. I'm not really sure though. If you know, please let me know in the comments. That would be a great thing to find out. So it might not dry as readily as the other ones do, but I do have an M. Graham color in one of my other palettes, and it did dry just fine in the end. I don't remember having a particular problem. Now I am just going to give this a preliminary wipe. I've also found that when it comes to wiping this kind of situation, Q-tips or cotton swabs work really well. So I will probably get some of that out right now and just try and clean that up a little bit. I have had this a very long time. It's made by, or sold by anyway, a company called Off the Spool 3D on Etsy. I got it. Now, obviously, the cool thing is I can get lots of colors. The not so cool thing is they're not in their own containers, so you can't readily swap them out. You kind of have to make a decision and stick with it for a while. You could probably pull a color out, dig it out, but not something I would think you'd want to do on a regular basis, and it's not as easy as it is to do when you've just got a half pan stuck in one of these kinds of containers. That wasn't too bad. All right. Now I think I'll go up to the top and we'll get that done. So let's start with the Quinn Rose up here. Let me make sure that you are nice and in focus. You can come down a little bit, maybe. I am having a problem with my light, so if it's a little dark, I apologize. My ring light, when I came in here the other day, I think it was yesterday at some point, I was like, what is that smell? Something smells really bad, like burning electricity. Oh, well, that is not what I wanted that to do. And I dragged my daughter up here and I said, do you smell something bad? She's like, yeah. I said, it's coming from over here. And she said, I think it's the plug, the cord for the ring light, which hadn't been plugged in very long at all. She says, Mom, it's really hot. So I was like, okay, really hot, bad smell. We're calling that, a goner. So I am trying to get a replacement plug, for it, cord for it. And I don't have one yet. I was hoping maybe I had a previous ring light that just quit working. And I was hoping you could maybe find that one's cord, because we save everything in this house. And of course, because that could be useful, and I would like to see if it fits and if it's the same voltage and all that and same amperage. I can't find it. So that will have to wait till another day. I'm probably going to just have to order one and then we'll find it. Just the rule of thumb. That is very, very wet. So we are going to see how she dries. They're going to crack. I don't care if they crack. I just keep topping them off. And I don't mind as long as they stay in their little spots. And I have to keep encouraging that a little bit with a dried gouache palette. But that's okay. I can do that. Just don't want anything sticking up so it'll bump into anything else. Okay. So if you like this sort of thing, it'd be great if you hit the like button. And if you want to see more videos of mine, please hit that subscribe button. And if you want to be notified of future videos, hit the cute little bell. I have a lot of this kind of thing and a lot of painting, and I paint in a lot of different mediums, so it's a little eclectic. If you've made a little dried gouache palette, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what you put in it and how it's worked out for you. I have absolutely loved my little watercolor palettes that I made in the video before this one that was about little palettes. I think I made one or two in between, but I don't remember. But they weren't about little palettes. But in my other little palette video, those ones, I have really enjoyed using them. And when I did those, I used a bunch of colors that I didn't have in any other palette. So that kind of made that fun. So I thought, well, I'll try and do the same thing here. I do expect I'll be topping these off because I did find when I did my other dried gouache palettes that I had to keep topping them off for a while. And I found that if I didn't let them dry too fast, they did better. As anxious as I was to use them, it just worked better. Close enough. I don't know if you can hear that, but I can hear the timer going off in the kitchen. Another M-gram. It's a little soupy. Hopefully I won't have problems with that. Like I said, I didn't have problems before. So I'm going to hope that this will be the same. It didn't stand out as the M-gram being soupier, longer, or harder to get to dry longer. It's just another color. Forget what color it was off the top of my head. Might have been Jane's Gray. Not sure. Oh, that one can have more right away. I don't know how much gray I'm going to get out of this gray tube because it's on its last leg. Really important to line up the cap when you put it back on, or you will have problems with dried gouache. Not on a palette, just in your tubes. Okay, two more. Now my white, I always mix with a little watercolor medium and put it in a little squeeze tube because you need white when you paint with gouache. Pretty much. At least I definitely do. And I go through quite a bit of it, so it's not the kind of thing that I want to deal with re-wetting. I do like to have a little bit of a dried gouache in some of my watercolor palettes because I do use gouache a lot, but it doesn't work as well when it's got to be re-wetted, especially the white. It'll give you enough to shade a color, but it won't. It loses its opacity. At least that's what I have found. I cannot get it as opaque as I can because you've added a bunch of water to it to reconstitute it. Okay. One more. So I will have some little container, a little squeezy bottle or something that I will put my white in. or a mixture of my white and watercolor medium that Winsor & Newton make. So I don't have that with me right now because I haven't figured out what I'm going to use yet. Just keep making a bigger mess. Way easier to do it that way than with a paper towel, though, I can tell you from experience. So that's real cute. So I was going to put this in here while it dries, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I want to spray the inside of the lid with a white enamel spray paint. And I'm going to wait till this dries to put it in there, or at least starts to dry. Because I don't want it to dry real fast, but it's just too hard to get it in here. And then I have to take it out if I want to paint this white. So we're just going to leave it, and I'm going to get a piece of paper so we can swatch it. Now, this is going to be a little tricky to do because it's not dry. So it's kind of hard to get a good sample off of it without getting too crazy. But we're going to do our best. So there's 3 rows, so they can't be very big. They can be long, though. Let's make sure I've got that part. This sample I'm just going to get off of the thing that I mixed the color on. Because that would be easier. Whoops. Well, I'm going to do this one. Okay, let's write these down real quick. It's Quinn Rose. That's an M-gram. And English red. And that's a Schminky Whoredom. And lemon yellow. And that one is also, no, that one. Let's do this. Schminky Whoredom. And this is Holbein. See? Goofing up my system. And Marigold is Holbein. And this is King's Royal Blue. And that is a Daniel Smith. And Primary Cyan is a Holbein. Turquoise Green is a Holbein. Olive, or not olive, Sap Green. I believe it is M. Graham. This is Sand. It's my own. This one is Van Dyke Brown. And that is a Daniel Smith. This is Gray 3, I think. It's definitely Holbein. Gray number 3. And this is Pearline. Pearline. I'm getting my Y's and my E's mixed up. And that is Winsor Newton. Okay. So we're going to have to let this dry before we can do anything with it. In the meantime, I'm going to try and get this lid painted. And maybe we will paint with it sometime. But I think that's it for today. And I hope you got something out of it. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you have fun making your own small palettes. And if you've done a tiny gouache palette, let me know what you think of it, if you enjoy using it, in the comments below. So in the meantime, if you'd like to, please check out my Etsy shop where I have prints of my artwork along with some originals and my cute little monsters for sale and some spiffy little tins like the one I was using today. Until next time, thank you so much for watching.